we've been talking about the channel a lot about Black Adam because Black Adam's it's here, it's upon us, right? It is currently Tuesday, so I will be seeing Black Adam on Thursday,
3 p.m.
3 p.m. So,
and you're going to do a post-show discussion, right?
That's right.
So probably be at 6 p.m., 7 p.m. Eastern. Be back here on this channel. Get your first updates on Black Adam.
That's
movie.
right. That's right. So I couldn't be more excited. You know, we talked about there's a video up on the channel if you guys haven't seen it where we talked about people's early reactions who had seen it. And I mean, it just, you know, I had said then and that, you know, as this kind of was going on, I was wondering if this wasn't going to be one of those Scorpion King situations for Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson where it all sounds great and you want it to look great, but then when you see it, it's like, this isn't very good. And so I was a little worried, and I shouldn't have been because it's The Rock, and he's got it all figured out now, right? I mean, Scorpion King was like 2000, so he's in a lot better place than he was then.
It's also a better property. You know, Black Adam, you know, has some amazing stories, a very deep, complex character, dark, an anti-hero, which we love anti-heroes. Scorpion King, he was a side character to the Mummy series. Not a lot of depth
Sort
there.
of an anti-hero.
Yeah, absolutely. But there's not a lot of depth. You know, we don't find out about who he lost and why he feels the way. We're going to find out all that with Black Adam.
For sure. And I'm super stoked for it. That being said, what I want to talk about today is this article that's coming to us from Variety. And that is that the director of Black Adam has said that originally it was rated R, and then only within the last 4 or 5 weeks did they finally able to get approval for a PG-13 rating. And as a fan who's excited for this, it excites me even more because I seen in all the early reviews that they were saying that this is brutal, that this is, you know, all these things. And it makes me more excited because that means it probably really is going to be right on that edge, like that fine line of, you know, damn, this could be R almost, you know, and that's really excited to me. So I want to read a couple of quotes here from the director who said, okay, we really want to make sure that we honored the character of Black Adam. One of the things he's known for is his aggression and his violence, and to do a Black Adam movie that didn't have that would just have been not authentic. So we always went into this knowing that we were going to push it as far as we could. And then he also goes on to say, there are some great moments when Black Adam is in the fly bike chase sequence and drops one of the gang soldiers. Then there's great moments where the truck bounces over a body. But those moments are that you need to remember in these moments, you know what I mean? You can't play it safe, and you have to go for it. And I think we have 4 or 5 of those. At one point, we had about 10. And we were able to find a compromise with the MPA on that. So they had to send this thing to the MPA 5-6 times, guys, before they finally got approved for a PG-13 rating. And so they're saying it's down to maybe 4 to 5 of those, you know, R-rated sequences, but there was 10 of them. I mean, still though, 4 to 5 seems cool. It seems like, again, this is going to be riding that fine line of being an R-rated movie and, you know, being very visceral and being very, you know, The Rock's physical presence, I'm sure, will be felt in those visceral moments too, and we want to see that with a character like Black Adam, right? Especially with a guy who's as physically capable as The Rock. He's just such a menacing looking dude when he's, you know, beating ass and throwing dudes around, and we don't want that watered down. We want to see it to its fullest extent. Now, I'm going to just say right now that no way in no world do I believe this movie needed to be R-rated. It did not need to be R-rated. And in fact, I would say that the PG-13 rating is where you want this movie to be, right? So that way you get me there, but you also get, you know, Tommy and his, you know, band friends from Halloween that are 13. You want them there. And so, yeah, so I think it's perfectly what we want, but it's also super exciting to see that they had that they had all these other things, because what that could mean for us guys, right, is that, you know, few months down the road when this is releasing on physical media, a director's cut with 5 extra brutal scenes of footage, which could add 20 minutes of film to it. Oh, come on. That's the stuff that I live for. So I'd be even more excited to get that R-rated version later that I could watch, in physical media. So that super excites me. I could not honestly be more excited for this movie, considering that just honestly a week ago, guys, I was just, again, kind of worried and kind of on the fence of like man, I'm going to go see it, but now I just can't wait to see it. So a couple days away, Thursday, 3 o'clock, I'll do a little small out of the theater review, and then we're going to, as soon as I get home and Lucas gets here and we get everything set up in the studio and ready to go, we're going to throw up a open spoiler discussion, and I hope you guys come back and join us, and let's talk about all these things. I'm excited to see Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate and Hawkman and Atom Smasher and Superman and all of these characters. So I couldn't be more excited. Shane, you're hearing that Black Adam was almost R-rated, or it was, right, just 3 or 4 weeks ago. What are your thoughts on that, man?
I'm really excited about this movie. I think it's based on the Peter Tomasi comic, which is my favorite Black Adam comic, and I love Jeff Johns' Justice Society run. So the fact that they're showing up here, people are going to fall in love with this movie. They're going to fall in love with Justice Society. Makes me so happy that this movie is going to be bad. But a couple things that kind of just jumped out to me with this R rating type thing is, it makes sense because you're essentially battling with Thanos. Right. Thanos and Black Adam are very similar characters, lost their families, have all this, revenge, and they just completely, brutally destroy anyone that's in their wake. So, DC had to come into this going, hey, we got to out Thanos.
Right.
Another thing, too, is, I doubt they did this because it's more CGI money, but honestly, I can't think of a better marketing gimmick than Black Adam almost getting an R-rated, because right before it's released, we now start hearing, whoa, it was going to be, I got to see this.
Right.
And then, you got on the back end.
We're here talking about it.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have it on the back end. Hey, I like that movie a lot. Maybe I'd see it again, maybe not. Oh, man, now I get to see the director's cut R-rated. Right. Well, I got to see it again. So now I'm spending even more money.
Right, and they may even put that back out in theaters to see.
There you go.
Right?
Well, I love that version. Back. So now I'm going to go see the theater to see that version. So, brilliantly played by DC. I think it's taken them a long time to catch up, but I think with this movie being released, they're going to, at least be on track, yeah, exactly. Sure. Still leagues behind where Marvel's at, but at least they could have their own universe, do their own thing.
Well, don't forget we had the Batman 2 this year, right? So
yes,
that would be two. I mean, shit. If we're being honest, that would be the two best comic. If Black Adam is as good as we think it is, it'll be the two best comic book movies I've seen all year.
There you go.
And where's Marvel at?
There you go.
Right.
Well, you know how I feel. I don't think DC's made a good comic book movie since, I guess, Constantine was good, Jonah Hex, and 89 Batman. That's it. That's all I'm giving it to him. I didn't like it. I don't like the Nolan Batman.
We like the Batman.
Yeah, I love the Batman until that one.
Yeah.
But I'm not a fan of Nolan's Batman. So, yes, it's been a long time coming for DC for me.
Yeah, for sure. And this, like you were saying, this character, brings so much to the table, and I think that's what is most interesting is, and we often talk about what I think his real role will be, right, is now that we have Cavill coming back as Superman, is he'll be, the guy that can compete with Superman, right? Because one of Superman's weaknesses is magic, right? And Black Adam's power is magic.
Exactly, magic base.
I mean, it's kind of like a match made in a fight.
I think this is cool. I think there's going to be a lot of stuff for fans in there like that. But what I think people are going to walk away with, and I'm going to say this right now, and I want to hear if this is true whenever you tell me about it. But Black Adam is such a deep, complex, cursed character. I bet most people aren't going to walk away saying how great this movie is. They're going to say this is The Rock's best performance, and they've never seen him act so well.
See, a lot of the early reviews were saying, how deep it was and how, which is something that I felt that when I see the trailers, it looked like, I see they're going for that, but it looks like it's,
It's so hard with trailers. I tell you this all the time. Trailers have to follow a formula. There's been films made that when they've gotten to the trailer part, they're like, there's not enough action in this trailer. We need you to go back and film one more action scene for your film that's already been complete, just so we have enough action for the trailer. It's its own business. It's so hard to glean any information from a trailer other than, oh, it looks exciting and I have to see it, because that's what their job is. It isn't to, tell you how good the story is. It's just to get your butts into the theater.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, this movie's gonna get butts in theaters, man. It's gonna be crazy. I feel like this is gonna tear up the weekend box office. And Shane, like you were saying, we haven't had $100 million opening since, what was it?
Top Gun.
So, there you go. I mean, and that was months ago. So the box office needs it. The theaters need it. We as fans need it. Did
Jurassic World come out before Top Gun or after? Because
it might have been around the same time.
Yeah, those were I think the only two movies this year to hit it. And Sonic, I believe.
Oh wow, cool.
Maybe.
Good for Sonic.
I remember.
But yeah, it was. I couldn't be more excited to check it out. And on that Black Adam video that I was telling you guys about that's up on the channel where we were discussing it, we had actually someone comment on it who I thought brought up a great point, that shame on The Rock. Shame on you, The Rock, for making such a badass movie, because now we're all going to want more DC and more The Rock and more all of that stuff and less Marvel. So shame on you, Dwayne The Rock Johnson. But yeah, guys, you guys are hearing about this, that, Black Adam is going to be riding that line of R-rated, and that it just a few weeks ago was R-rated. What are you guys' thoughts on that? What are you guys' thoughts of maybe potentially getting a director's cut later when it comes out?
Can I make one more point?
Yeah, for sure.
On this fact? I think that, every DC movie, in fact, I feel like the Batman probably was skirting that R-rated line just a little bit. I really think that's the approach DC needs to go. Not darker, but more adult-driven. Because there's a saying when I worked in the comic book industry that Marvel gets you into comics, but DC keeps you into comics. And I grew up the biggest Marvel fan. And there was a point in college where I started reading more DC, and I became obsessed with DC. Thankfully, during DC's greatest time, at least in modern comics, from 2000 to 2012, DC was so good. And luckily, I was on board during that time. And I think that should be their approach to movies. They shouldn't be like Marvel. Marvel's going to pull people into these comic book world movies, but DC should be the company that's keeping the audience in the comic book world movies. That's a good way to put it. A little bit more adults, not as kids-centric. Be different, because you are different.
Right. And, and it doesn't need, well, the thing is, too, is that you could have like a decent mix with your characters, because you got like Shazam, where you could have this like lighthearted kind of fun version too. But I think when it's done right, for me, it does kind of have that. It's different from Marvel in that way, right? And that's what made, like you were bringing up Thanos and Infinity War, so different to me when I see, again, that opening scene and all that, because, Marvel never really hit you in a way like that, like so dark to be like, hey, dude, we're finna murder people, And so, yeah, I think that it is a different tone, and you're right. I think they should spend a little bit more time.
It doesn't necessarily need to be dark, just deeper, meaning like, the way a kid sees love is very shallow. It's, holding hands, I love you, but a way an adult sees love is completely different.
Right.
So show me that type of love rather than the kiddie love. Those types of things. Bring all your themes to this movie, like a Marvel movie, but just more that adult could relate to.
Right.
Because I really believe if you, handle it like the comic book world, because, when I ran a comic book store, most of my customers were adults. They weren't kids.
Right. Yeah. No doubt. For sure. Yeah, that's because the adults are the one with the money.
That's right.
Yeah, so, guys, again, you guys are hearing about the Black Adam being close to an R rating. Again, let us know in the comment section below what your guys' thoughts are on some of those.